Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It is League on Lock. Mark not here with us today, so you know the drill. We are flying Han Solo on this episode for some power rankings in the LCS. Week 5 we're looking at, and we keep bringing up that there are 8 teams. 8 of the 10 teams, 80% of the entire league will be taking part of playoffs in the summer split, which means one of these bottom 3 teams, which are really not looking so hot after week 5, will be making playoffs. And I mean, you can call it a dream run, a miracle run if they did make any noise in the playoffs. But for me, it's just a waste of everybody's time, a waste of a series if they're playing at the level that they are. So let's do the rankings for week 5, 10-1, and we'll talk about those bottom 3 and why they are looking so rough. We're talking FlyQuest, CLG, and Golden Guardians. And you look at the movement, CLG, despite the 0-3 the week before, now we're talking back-to-back 0-3s. It's 6 in a row that they have lost. For whatever reason, I've at least held out hope that this team is better than they've looked in a lot of these stage games, and they could, if any of these bottom 3 could make some kind of noise in playoffs. I thought it was CLG, but I got to get rid of that feeling, that mentality, because it's another week of them looking pretty uninspiring. Golden Guardians in that head-to-head did beat them, so they're moving up a spot, and the Golden Guardians actually looked better in this head-to-head matchup than the last time these two bottom feeders played. So there's some positives to look at when you are talking about the Guardians, which is why they're ahead or at the front of these bottom 3. And FlyQuest, by the way, 10 losses in a row. We saw them shuffle with the roster, 3 players swapping in and out, with Licorice and Johnson being the surprise ones getting subbed out. They went back to the normal lineup for this week, and it's still not the answer. There are no answers for FlyQuest right now, so I don't know what to tell you about them. I don't know what the future holds for them, but for now, it's not looking great for them. But they could still be making playoffs, so that's the craziest part, again, of the LCS. Dignitas is in at number 7. They had the win versus TSM, which is always impressive, beating one of these top 3 squads. And really, more so than that, the main reason they climb at all, even though it's just one spot this week, is because of how bad that bottom 3 is. So Dignitas still have a lot of issues to sort out. Neo has not played nearly to the level that we saw out of him in spring. Afro hasn't looked as good as he did earlier on in the split, and then obviously Acadian subbing in has actually been okay. Yasui, I'd still rather see Saligo be the main starter in mid lane for them, and Fake God is still on the bottom end of top laner, so lots to still figure out for Dignitas. And Immortals won that head-to-head matchup again, so even though they have a worse record, you look at specifically summer, Immortals has looked much better across the board. Because, of course, the records carry over from spring, so Dignitas kind of had that, I don't want to call it cheating, but let's be real, they already had this great record coming in. Not great. Okay record, but Immortals ahead of them, a 4 right now, and Immortals continue to be a surprise, just the fact that they've picked up so many wins. I was fully expecting to have them, or include them in that conversation with Golden Guardian, CLG, and FlyQuest. First off, I wasn't expecting FlyQuest to be in that situation or conversation whatsoever, but here we are, and Immortals has clearly separated themselves from being in that category of bottom feeder because they've played some decent games against some of the better teams in the league, and of course, like everyone else in the league, they beat up on that bottom 3. So Immortals sitting pretty at number 6, staying put into the top 5, and the theme has been the same throughout all of summer and much of spring as well, with which 5 teams are here in the top 5. It's just been movement around, and I think there is a pretty significant drop-off, even when you get to the Immortals roster between the top 5 that we've seen throughout the split. There has been a lot of jockeying for position, and you see this week Evil Geniuses go down a spot, even though it was a 3-0 week for them. They played FlyQuest, CLG, and Golden Guardians. Literally the bottom 3 that I've been harping on this entire episode. And really the reason they're going down is because of the climb that we had from Cloud9. We had 2 out of 3 Fantastic performances from Perks in particular. You finally saw some of these highlight moments from Blabber that we've grown accustomed to seeing over all these MVP splits and years that we've seen out of him. So Cloud9 looked to be returning to that MSI form. It obviously came crashing down against TSM, which is why they're not climbing into that number 2 spot. I was fully ready to put them there if they won that head-to-head against TSM. Obviously ended up losing, but the positive course correction, we'll call it, for Cloud9. They're heading in the right direction, and we saw enough glimpses of it for them to climb up a couple of spots. And with them climbing, Team Liquid also gets dropped down. That's the main reason that EG went down. You still have a little bit more faith in Team Liquid than them, so when Team Liquid gets dropped, EG in return also is going to be getting dropped. But Team Liquid, they've now lost to all of the top 3 in back-to-back weeks, so they're clearly a tier below these guys. And man, what could help you take that next step? Maybe it could be getting a top laner who was an MVP candidate last play. Maybe they should start Alfari. I don't know. Maybe that's just a crazy hot take I have, that we should see Alfari returning to the starting lineup, but it's all a mystery for Team Liquid, what they're actually doing behind the scenes, when we're actually going to see him start. But for now, it's still Jenkins, it's still Armeo, obviously subbing in for Santorin, and just this roster with Team Liquid, I don't know if they can stay higher than that number 4 spot without having that win condition, that is Alfari. So for now, they're sitting there at number 4. TSM in that second spot. Talked about how close they are to Cloud9. And when we do the top 20 rankings, I feel like if you extended it beyond 20, you'd have Cloud9 at 22 or something, just right below TSM. It's definitely a bigger gap for 100 Thieves, who have now won 8 in a row, continue to slap everybody in the LCS. Doesn't matter if you're a contender or a pretender. 100 Thieves look really good ever since Abadage has come into the lineup. They look like the hope for North America, but it's still early summer. It's just the regular season. How many times have we seen a team perform super well in the regular season and then disappoint when playoffs roll around? But across the board, 100 Thieves have looked... They've done all that you can to impress in North America, and we haven't really seen a team dominate like this since way back in 2020 spring, when Cloud9 was absolutely annihilating everybody at historic levels when Niski was still on the roster. 100 Thieves they're not quite at that level, but they are absolutely beating up on everybody else in North America. And there was a clear gap between 1 and 2 in the LCS right now. But that is it for the LCS Power Rankings today. My name is Eric. As always, thanks for hanging out, and we will catch you guys and gals on that flippity flip.